Realer than real.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back. Oh, how I've missed you. Girl, let me give you a kiss. And do you know that Vine? Please tell me you know the Vine I'm talking about. It's like a QVC ad. And I don't know what the caller says, but the guy's selling. Falling is so funny to me. It might be cheap laughs, but it's funny every single time. And he's doing something dramatic and he said, girl, let me give you a kiss. And I don't know if it happens when he runs to the camera or when he's running back, but he completely eats shit. And it's one of my favorite Vines. But in any regard, I have missed you all. It's been far too long. And we all know whose fault that is. But no need to drum it up. Let's just enjoy the time we have together. Right here, you and me. Right now. Hold my hand while we say the intro. He's, she's, gays, theys, baddies, and daddies. Welcome back to the Realer Than Real podcast with your host and your literal internet best friend, Shamira. Sometimes in this world, we can keep things real. We can keep things very real. But on this podcast right here, we keep things realer than real. How the hell are you? I hope you're doing well. I do feel like maybe this might be across the country, but especially here on the East Coast, especially here in the DMV, spring has sprung. And we know this because even just within the past couple days, we've experienced 2 to 3 days of 70-degree weather, almost near 80 degrees. And then today, as I'm filming this, today is April 1st, the temperatures dropped down significantly today and it was super windy. So we are in full effect with the spring weather. How are y'all's spring allergies? I will say that I am one of the fortunate few who do not suffer from terrible spring allergies. I think the pollen would have to be awful. And I feel like scientists are always saying every year it's getting worse and worse. But I feel like it has to be super bad. My allergies are more for if I walk into a super dusty environment or if I walk into an environment that has major cat fur. But I don't have seasonal allergies. But I work with people who get their ass kicked by allergies. And I feel so bad for y'all because allergies can really take some of y'all out. So good luck and Godspeed to y'all this spring season. But I would love to know what we're all looking forward to in this season of spring. Everyone, I don't know if this is a new mindset for this year. But the sentiment that I've heard recently has been that the beginning of spring is really the new year. And it kind of makes sense, because the switch from December to January, it doesn't feel different. It's still getting dark early. It's still cold. And in fact, if you absolutely know that even though winter starts December 21st, and it gets cold well before December 21st, the real winter does not start until January, February. And that, I don't know if that's because of global warming. I don't really know. But what I do know is that I feel like historically, the winter weather has always gotten worse or better. If you're a winter stan like myself, it has gotten, I would just say, more intense in January and February. You get more snow. The temperatures are way lower. So with that being said, people just, and you just don't really feel like your new self. I know that for years we've, New Year's, January 1st has been marketed towards us as the start of something new. Come on. It feels so right to be here with, actually, hold on. I'm going to go on a tangent. And this is honestly the earliest I've ever gone on a tangent in this podcast. There's this person on TikTok, this guy who does soul jazzy covers of just random songs. And when I tell y'all that he recently covered, not recently, this was maybe a while ago, he covered the start of something new from High School Musical. When I tell you it is nearly unrecognizable how he did, it's insane. Hold on. I'm going to find it. His TikTok account is Landon Starkman 2, and he has such a beautiful, smooth voice. Okay, listen. You better sing. Are you serious? This is my favorite part. Listen. This is an opt up. Oh! Those runs. Bitch. Are you serious?
This could be the start of something new. It feels so right to be here with you. Oh. And now looking in your eyes, I feel in my heart. Oh my heart. The start of something new.
Wow. I mean, just truly, truly incredible. Like, it's so incredible to me that people can really sing. Like, I know I joke on here that I can sing, and sometimes I do catch myself off guard, and I'm like, oh my God, I kind of sound good. But like, to know that you have a talent to not only sing really well, but then to change up a song like that and make it, I love High School Musical. I love the first song. I love the start of something new. That does not even sound like the original song in the best way. I just think like that's so cool. And there's a part of me that's like, if I really try, I feel like I can sing, right? I mean, like I was vice president of the Glee Club. I was in the choir and I did like middle school theater, right? I feel like I can sing. So I feel like I could be trainable. And I feel like if you train me, and here's my thing though, like obviously I know there are like vocal categories. I could get up to a soprano. If there are any vocal coaches out there that want to take a chance on me, I'm ready. I'm ready. Nope. You know what I was trying to do? Do you guys remember that iCarly Victorious mashup episode where Ariana Grande, like her character Kat is like not allowed to talk because I think her doctor said her vocal cords were messed up. And she speaks in the end of the episode and they're like, Kat, you're not supposed to be talking. Oh, wait, no. They say, Kat, your doctor said you're not supposed to talk. And she takes off the thing. He didn't say I couldn't sing. That was so bad. She did eat with that, though. That was my first taste of, like, Ariana Grande being able to, like, sing down. I want to hear it now. Wait. He didn't say. Why am I starting so high? It's my protective shield so that I don't let y'all note correct me. Let me see if I can just find that clip on here.
Karaoke. What? What? Shh. The doctor said you weren't supposed to talk. He didn't say I couldn't say.
That was the first time I think I experienced something that, like, gaggy. Like, that was actually truly gaggy. Anywho. While I have brain rotted things on the mind, you guys, the birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming, the sun is shining, and I have a new celebrity crush. It's actually really funny because at work today we did this like congratulatory lunch for like me and my team because we got through like a difficult period of our work. Or I won't say difficult, I'll say busy. And like, you know, we're just talking and stuff, like just chit-chatting with each other. And the thing about me that I want people to know is who I am on this podcast is who I am with my family. It's who I am with my boyfriend. It's who I am with my friends. And it's who I am at work. To a degree, of course. I do have some decorum. I'm a woman of stature. But to that extent, I'm very much myself at work. And this is so childish. Oh no, it's just so, it definitely gives personality hire. And I know that some people look at that term or like that label as like actually a bad thing, but I think if you also do your job and you're the personality hire, then it's fine. I have like I made like a little flyer at my desk and I switch it out whenever I feel the need to of like my celebrity crushes. So like last month and for a while it was Cooper Koch, Nicholas Chavez, and Roman Reigns, which I've talked about all three of those men on different occasions ad nauseum on this podcast. But recently, just, you know, as times have changed, my celebrity crushes have changed. I like to do 3. I love a good rule of 3. So my current celebrity crushes, as it stands right now, Your Honor, I'd like to show the jury evidence A. No, what do they say? So my current celebrity crushes right now are 1, Kendrick Lamar. I don't think anyone's surprised, at least not if you actually follow me on social media. More if you follow my spam account, which is not actually for the general public. That's just for the dolls, you know, my main dolls. But I've been obsessed with Kendrick Lamar. I always thought he was cute. I've said this before and I'll say it again because everyone thinks I'm just a recent fan and I'm not. I have always thought he was cute. It's just in more recent times, He's been looking fine. And don't talk to me. Oh, he's so short. Do you think I give a flying do you think I care about height, bitch? Because first of all, as we all know, short men tend to have face cards. Your Honor, if I'm lying, what did SpongeBob say? If I'm lying, let me be hit by a flying ice cream truck and live. Short men have face cards. So one, he has that going for him. Two, he works out a lot. Y'all, the ones who aren't tapped in, they might not see it, but I'm telling you, I've been clocked it. I peeped the chest. I peeped the back muscles. And then just recently, what really solidified for me, well, I'd already been locked in. I was dug in on this point. I think his tour started, and so I just recently saw a clip of him on stage. Great googly muggly, let me move my bangs so I can see that better. I can't even. This is only for the I always forget who I say watches the podcast, if it's the baddies or the daddies. I believe it's the baddies that watch the podcast. So for the baddies that are going to watch this, for the baddies that are currently watching the podcast, I'm going to show a TikTok to the camera. I need y'all to tap in. I need y'all to truly open your third eye and see what I'm seeing. Look. Do you see this? Great God Almighty. Oh, I'm barking at the camera. Don't know about y'all, but I am barking. So that's my first celebrity crush. The next celebrity crush I have is an actor named Kelvin Harris Jr. He is in like the Lion King origin story with Aaron Pierre, as we all know from Aaron Pierre's Spirit Channel from the J Hud show. Aaron Pierre, that's Mufasa. Kelvin Harris stars alongside Aaron Pierre in the movie. Not only is Kelvin Harris cute, he also is so funny. Like, he is hilarious. I have never seen the Lion King movie that he's in. I don't truly have a big interest in seeing it. If it was on streaming one day and I felt a little adventurous and maybe not watching the same 5 things I watch all the time, I might give it a watch. But all of the press interviews that I have seen of him have been so funny. Like, and I know, like, we can have the conversation about parasocial relationships another day, but there's just something about a celebrity who's actually funny. Like, you know, like people put together like compilations of like their favorite celebrity and it's like, oh, funny moments. And it's like, yeah, these are funny, but like someone who is like legitimately funny is attractive. Being funny and charming is a good thing. And it's not even just that he's charming, it's that he's a little goofy. And one thing about it, men, if you're listening out there, I'm gonna put you onto some game. Girls love a goofy guy. Now, don't be a jackass. Don't be a fucking jackass, but make sure you can tell a joke that makes a girl laugh. That's really the key. Because girls like to do a little giggle. We're nothing but a bunch of giggle pussies. We like to guffaw. We like to snicker, sniggle, chuckle even. I can't think of another word for laugh. Why can't I think of another word for laugh? Is that all of them? Is that all the words? Pull up the thesaurus. Let me see. Chortle. Chortle's a good one. Howl, roar. Titter. I've never heard that one. But yeah, no, girls love to do all that. And he's so freaking funny. Again, a face card. Although I don't think he's short. Let me ask Siri. How tall is Kelvin Harris Jr.? My guess is that he's probably close to 6 foot. But there's a part of me that's hoping that he is short because that proves my theory again. Let's see. Although I'm very happy that he cut his braids because I did not like the braids. What is the braids? 5'7". I wish I had like a cowbell or something. 5'7". Kendrick Lamar is what? 5'4" probably. Short kings, y'all are taking it. And the last one, of course, just because of how much I've been saying this, the last one is actually quite tall. He is a Korean actor. His name is Gong Yoo. He is on Squid Games, which is a very popular show, although that's not where I know him from. I just recently watched Train to Busan, which is a fantastic scary movie. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But first, I'm going to talk about this fine shit right here. Oh my God. So, me and Jared are watching this movie, and he's just, as much as I do love the short kings, there was something about this tall man and those long legs. I said, ooh, Let me climb. He's hot. And at first I think sometimes, because it's me, I'm a little brain rotted. Sometimes if I can find someone attractive in a piece of media, it makes me want to enjoy it more. Say what you want about it. I don't really give a damn. Sometimes it just makes it a little more fun. It gives me a little more investment. I'm someone who I like to be completely invested into a show. And if I have a character that I can have even just a parasocial relationship with just for that, however long that movie is on, it helps me get more invested. Especially in a scary movie, I think part of it is that you do get invested into it and it becomes like an adventure for you. So I'm watching it and I'm like, why he and I'm like, oh yeah, he's really cute. I won't spoil the movie for y'all, but the whole movie I was rooting for him and whatnot. But then afterwards I'm like, well, let me just see. I didn't know he was in Squid Games. I've never watched Squid Games. So of course, after the movie, I'm just thinking about him. I'm twirling my hair, kicking my feet. I'm like, let me see if anyone else has the same opinion as me. And this is what I love so much about social media. One thing about it, there will never be a niche interest. You will never have an original thought. It's not that I didn't think anyone else would think he was cute. But I'm just like, because I didn't know he was in Squid Games, I'm like, well, maybe he's just maybe an obscure actor. I don't really know him. And that's my bad. But sure enough, I go on TikTok and there are the edits. And if it's one thing, I think I said it before and I'll say it again. The girlies who are edit people, the editors, the fan cammers, y'all deserve y'all's flowers. Y'all deserve y'all's flowers bad. Because it's one thing for me to go into TikTok and already have an obsession with someone. Yeah, and then y'all are feeding the fire by showing me these just these amazing edits, just with these crisp cuts and the perfect velocities. It's perfect. Sometimes the edits be the thing that convince me to have a crush on the celebrity. That was the case with Nicholas Chavez, actually. I had no interest in watching the Menendez Brothers show as told by Ryan Murphy. I saw the edit. Next thing you know, I'm ordering a shirt with Nicholas and Cooper's face on it. That's how good the editors are. But yeah, so I have 3 new celebrity crushes. And it's funny because Monday when I went in, this past Monday, I went into work and I was sitting at my desk. I'm like, I'm going to change this. So I made myself the new flyer. I went to go print it out. But I had the PDF pulled up on my computer, and my supervisor comes back to my desk to come talk to me. And she's talking about serious stuff. And I'm looking at her, I'm engaging with her. But then I look over my computer and I'm like, this is on my screen. I'm having the most serious conversation with her right now. And it's not I'm not in trouble or anything. It wasn't a big deal. But then today she had, so then going back to today when we were having our little work lunch, I brought it up. I was like, you guys have new celebrity crushes. And my supervisor was like, yeah, I saw the thing on your computer. Gag Marie. I think that's so funny. But yeah, so, and I know people will say what they want about parasocial relationships, celebrity crushes, and people are obsessed with celebrities, blah, 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 blah. Shut up, you boring ass. You boring heifer. Let me have fun. Let the people have fun. Let the dolls have fun. The dolls are going to doll regardless, so let the dolls doll. But there's just something that's so fun. And I think in the last episode, I went on my intellectual tangent about how important I think celebrity crushes are. And I maintain all those points that, at least for me, my celebrity crushes are typically an interest or typically an indication that I've experienced a new piece of media and that I've really enjoyed it. Train to Busan was a Korean horror movie that I watched. It came out in 2016, but I'm only just now watching it. Jared had watched it before, and one of my friends, Allison, had watched it, and they both were telling me, you need to see this movie. Because one thing about me, I love scary movies. I love horror movies. I pretty much love the entire genre. If I had to maybe choose this, if I had to rank it, I think there's so much subgenres of movies that it'd be difficult to rank all of them. I would say that probably super gory things are at the bottom of my list. Gory for the sake of being gore, but for the most part, I love the entire genre of horror movies all in one. But this movie, one, it was different for me because I don't really watch a ton of subbed Korean Korean movies, drama, TV, things like that. The only time I've done it is when I was watching Attack on Titan, the final episode. So for those of you who don't know, Attack on Titan is an anime, and there's 2 types of episodes that come out for each episode. There's a dubbed version where it's dubbed with American actors doing the voiceovers, and there's a sub version where it's the original Korean actors doing the voiceovers, and then the captions are in English. And I watched the entire season or the entire series of Attack on Titan subbed. No, I watched the entire series of Attack on Titan dubbed, but the last episode was subbed. And it's like, it was highly awaited. Like, it was such a long awaited episode to get to that Jared wanted to watch it just as it is. That was my only experience with it. So doing this again for this movie, that was a different experience. I also don't watch a lot of Korean media. So that was really fun to like experience that for the first time. And just, you know, see how other cultures do storytelling. And I noticed a theme in it, but I feel like if I point out this theme, I will spoil the movie for anyone who's going to go watch it if you have not watched it yet. Although I'm talking about it like it's a new movie, I'm probably one of the last people to see it. But that being said, it was such an incredible experience and it was such a good movie. And it brings me to I've been thinking about this for a while because the same night that we watched Train to Busan, we also watched Smile too. And they were both just such incredible movies. And it just makes me think about like, I don't feel like scary movies are recognized by the Academy enough. And I don't know what makes a movie, you know, why one movie gets recognized by the Academy over another. And I know, to my knowledge, award shows basically work in the way of like, I think they all, I could be wrong, but I think for the most part, most award shows, the creator or maybe the production company of a movie or whoever, they will present, it's like they put together, we'll call it like a poster board project, right? And they say like, you know, if I was the director, the creator of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and I wanted it to be considered for the Academy Awards, I would put together like a little poster board, a little graphic of like how the film did and all this stuff, and I would submit it to the Academy and say, for your consideration, right? So that's how I'm assuming most award shows work. I know that's how the Grammys work, and I'm pretty sure that's how like the Emmys work as well. I could be wrong, but let's just, for the sake of the argument, let's just say it happens that way. So it's one thing for anyone to submit their movie, but then I don't know how the Grammys typically makes up the nominations for everything. But I just feel like scary movies, the actors have to be able to portray whatever the storyline is, but also they have to be able to portray a certain level of like terror and psychosis and like just a general fear that I think is so captivating to see come to life on camera. When we're watching Smile 2, we're watching Naomi Scott play this Riley Sky, I think is the character's name. We're watching her play this Riley Sky character, and we're watching her go from this seemingly sane pop star to this this woman has lost her mind. And the audience, we know why, you know, but in her life, or in the character's life, she's losing her mind because no one believes her. But it's the craziest thing. And I'm watching it, and I'm watching the way that her face contorts as she's portraying like fear and nerve and psychosis, and I'm like, this is a tangible, like I'm scared for her, I'm anxious for her. That level of acting needs to be recognized by the Academy. I want to look up actually before I start chatting. Okay, horror movies that have been nominated for Oscars. The Exorcist was the first, followed by Jaws. Jaws wasn't. The Sixth Sense, Silence of the Lambs, and Get Out. Okay, so like there have been some, but like The Exorcist came out in 1973 and Get Out came out in 2017. So you're telling me between 1973 and 2017, only 5 movies have been nominated. That's insane. And also, Jaws wasn't scary and I hated it. So now what? I hated Jaws. I watched it very recently and I hated it. Capital H, hated it. And all the film buffs can tell me I'm wrong, but I stand alone. I don't have to blend in with the crowd. I didn't like it. Actually, me and my brother, we have a long list of movies that we've been watching. And there's so many like classic films on there that everyone tells you to watch. And I'm like, I think some of y'all are drinking the Kool-Aid on this one. I won't say any more. If y'all want to know the rest, y'all let me know. But there's a few movies on that list where I'm like, y'all not only wasted my time by letting me watch this, I feel like y'all are lying now. Y'all drink the Kool-Aid and y'all think this is a good movie. It's just insane to me that these are the only 5 movies that have been nominated. The Exorcist I could maybe see because it's like one of its kind. It's a landmark film. It kind of, yeah, I could see that. Jaws, get the fuck out of my face. The Sixth Sense, I've not seen it, but I know the plot and I know the big twist in the end. So sure. Silence of the Lambs, yes, because Jodie Foster, and I kind of feel like that was like a big role for her. So yes, and then Get Out, duh. Like, it's Jordan Peele. It's his first horror movie. You're telling me Jordan Peele from Key and Peele made a horror movie and it was incredible and the twist was really cool? Like, yes. But that being said, there's so many other horror movies that I've seen that deserve to be nominated alongside with some of these other movies that people are about to tear down Twitter over because they didn't win in the Oscars. I just think it's crazy. Like, I don't know. If I think of like scary movies that I've seen recently, I definitely would say like Smile 2 should have been nominated for something. I don't know if that's recency bias, but I also will say this, that very rarely I don't want to say it's because I'm less judgmental of the media that I consume, but I more often than not, even though I just spent like 2 minutes shitting on Jaws, more often than not, I'm going to give into the whimsy of enjoying a movie. I do think that is a lost art nowadays. I do feel like people are so critical of the media that they take in, but it's like selective. Like I just feel like people are so critical sometimes that they won't allow themselves to enjoy something. And then even then, something else that really bothers me, like just recently there was a movie that came out. I believe it's called Woman in the Yard. And I guess it came out maybe last Friday, and I'm scrolling on Twitter and I see this tweet, and this person was quote tweeting like if you have a Twitter, you know the Twitter page Discussing Film. They tweeted like, oh, this movie comes out today. And then someone quote tweeted and were like, save your money, this movie was trash. And so of course I'm going to tap on the tweet and look at the replies and see if this person is providing any context. And they never are. I feel like that's something else that goes on the internet a lot. People will say something. They will say something that like, if you're going to say it, and people can say like, oh, it's just my opinion. If it's your opinion, then you need to be ready to defend it. And not for the sake of defending it as if people are going to attack you, but like the sake of defending it because if you're going to have a constructive conversation about something, then be prepared to do that. But this person wasn't saying why they didn't like it. They were just like, oh, it's just my opinion. What about the movie didn't you like? If you are going to tweet and that tweet is going to get somewhat viral, then say why you didn't like the movie. But I do think that some people are just, I don't know. Some people just get so fake critical about some of the media they take in. And I'm like, did you even go to enjoy the movie or did you go to be a fake critic for a day? Like, I don't know. Like, even when I went to go see Longlegs, and I talked about it on this podcast, how when I saw Longlegs, I was pretty disappointed because it wasn't as scary as everyone said it was. People said that it depicted feelings of dread. And while I got that, dread is a very different feeling than people like walking out being like, oh, you won't feel the same after this. You won't be able to walk alone at night. I was walking alone just fine. I promise, babe. But even then, when I was watching it, I still like the big twist in the end. I really enjoyed, although it was kind of predictable. But I love the acting on Blair Underwood's part in that. Like, I still tried to find some parts of it that I enjoyed. I did like the build up, and I liked that maybe there wasn't a ton of jump scares in that movie. But I gotta call a spade a spade. That movie was not scary at all, and y'all lied. Somebody lied to her several times, and I'm the her. Y'all lied to me several times, and so that movie was so scary. But more often than not, I do enjoy a movie. That's why, in part, I do like going to the movie theater. I saw this discourse online this weekend, or maybe so far this past week, because one of those days, I think the name of the movie is either One of Them Days or One of Those Days, but it's the Kiki Palmer and SZA movie directed by Issa Rae, and it's about to be on Netflix soon. And someone was saying on Twitter how they don't even go to the movie theaters anymore because movies just come on streaming so quickly. And I do agree with that. Like, I do think it's very strange to like, you know, back in my day, you had to wait a while for movies to not only not be in theaters anymore, but to be accessible to the public. And so it's so jarring sometimes. Like, when I get on Hulu and I'm scrolling through and I see Anora on Hulu, like, I'm like, what is this? Like, Ariana, what are you doing here? Like, it's just so strange. But I do think part of being whimsical, I guess, and enjoying the experience of a movie and maybe not being so harshly critical is going to the movie theater and enjoying that experience. I don't know if I talked about it ever on here, but not recently, I was going to say recently. You know that thing people do where they say, oh, just the other day, and the other day could have been anywhere from 6 days ago to like 6 years ago. I do that a lot. But I saw Blink twice sometime last year in November. I believe it was in November, and I saw it. I went to the movie theater, and I don't know, sometimes there's just something about watching a movie with people and like you're getting into it. You're not being annoying to the people around you, but like I don't know, you're like, oh my God, like this twist is crazy. Like, you're tapping them on their shoulder. Y'all are like gripping each other's hands, like there's something about completely giving yourself over to the movie experience for the sake of nothing else other than just truly enjoying yourself. I said it last episode and I'll say it again. I don't think people have fun anymore. And that's why people are too critical of the movies, and that's why the movies aren't fun anymore. And I'm trying to make all this connect. Hold on, what was my original point? And that's why scary movies don't get nominated, because y'all don't let yourselves be scared enough. Yeah, so actually it's your fault. The next time you see a good scary movie and the Oscar season comes up and you're like, oh, why was this movie nominated? Just know it's your fault. You. But I don't know. Yeah, I do just wish more horror movies were recognized. Both, like, I mean, the cinematography is there. The writing in horror movies is good, because if you think about it, horror movies, they literally are bound to a I'm not saying that like movies don't have to have a plot, but like horror movies are bound for things to come full circle in a way that is going to shock and awe the viewers. I think like horror movies have the best way of telling such a good story that, like, you know, it's going to loop all, like, horror movies are good for twists. You can't do a twist in a drama movie. Like, what would it be there for? Why would a man be there? Why would a twist be there? Like, twists and like just that really kind of like gripping, convicting storytelling can really only be found in horror movies. I'm convinced of it. Blink Twice, if you know, you know. That's Zoe Kravitz's movie where she had her directorial debut and she had her former fiance Channing Tatum star in it. That twist was Oscar worthy, and you can't tell me different. So I think my wish for horror movies going forward in 2025 and beyond, you all, and I'm talking to all horror movie directors, you all need to start believing in yourself, trusting your craft, and just start submitting yourself for these awards. What's the worst they can say? No. Not me giving these Hollywood directors a little bit of rejection therapy. The worst they can say is no. But I really do think the world would benefit more from knowing the type of storytelling that can go on in horror movies. There's just something so magical about them. The way that Disney adults feel about Disney films is the way I feel about horror movies. And in general about scary things. Like, there's a reason I love a haunted house. That shit is fun as hell. It's not even this summer yet. You know that phenomenon of like, during the summer, people listen to Christmas music and all they hope for, like, you know, Christmas in July and all that stuff. I do that, but with Halloween. Because I just love the spooky season so much, you guys. Anyway, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey gorgeous. I hope you're enjoying the pod so far. I'd love you forever and ever if you like and subscribe to the show on YouTube and follow plus rate the show 5 stars on wherever you get this podcast. I gotta go for now, but smooches, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Right, and we are back. For anyone who's ever wondering, I always say, like, let's take a quick break, and obviously you all would have no idea of knowing how long those breaks are. Sometimes they're very long, depending on how long my first topic was. It can be a really long break. I think the longest break I've taken in between segments has probably been, I think, 30 minutes. And that was because I was debating if I was going to continue the episode. But this break was just long enough for me to grab these here grapes, which brings me to my first topic of the second segment of this podcast. If you are not new to this and you are true to this, you know that the end of the first segment, beginning of the second segment, we do something a little fun, sexy, sweet, and kind here, where or at least where I share with you some things I've been enjoying in hopes and in prayers and in manifestations that you will tell me somehow, some way, the things that you've been enjoying recently. And whether that's on the comment section on YouTube, the comment section on Spotify, or if I always say I'm going to do it and I never do, but maybe this time I actually will, if I put it on my story, you know, if you listen to today's episode, let me know what you've been enjoying. Somehow, some way, I want you to tell me the things you've been enjoying, because I want to know if I'll be able to enjoy them too. Well, without further ado, the first thing that I've been enjoying recently are these green grapes from Aldi. A little ASMR for you. These grapes, so I don't know the name of I don't know the brand, because I know it's on like the little plastic carton, but I don't know the name of it. But if you go to an Aldi, It's not the green grapes in the bag. It is the green grapes in the little plastic container. And when I tell you, actually, let me just let you hear it. Hold on. All right, let me take this one. Do you hear that crunch, bitch? These are... I used to stand by the fact that I did not like green grapes. I thought all green grapes were sour. I'm sorry, I don't always like sour things. So I always thought I was not a green grape fan. And one day I went, they didn't have my red grapes. So I said, okay, I guess I'll try these. I got these, bitch. That crunch, they're so sweet. In such a... I'm gonna have another one. Hold on. Incredible. They're so sweet. The crunch is so good. Like, these grapes are delicious, and I'm obsessed with them right now. Like, I when I got home, I was like immediately hungry, so I'm like, let me just grab a quick snack while I'm like settling in. I took this out the fridge. They're literally sitting in the kitchen, and as I'm like doing things and I'm walking back and forth to my apartment, like I would come out here, like disinfect my phone, and then I'd like go to the bathroom for something, and on my way to the bathroom, I would stop in the kitchen, grab a grape, and then continue on my way. Like, they're just so addictive. They're so good. And when these are frozen, I wish I had some frozen just so I could let y'all hear it. But first of all, the crunch, incredible. If you like the crunch of them just now, raw, the raw grape crunch you just heard, you can't compare it to the frozen grape crunch. It's incredible. But also, when were y'all going to tell me that frozen grapes are so good? That's about to be my go-to summer snack. Like, imagine this. And if you've never had a frozen grape, honey, get on it now, because this is going to be the summer snack. Imagine this. You're sitting at the beach. It's hot. It's hot. You're covered in a thin layer of sweat, but you are still covered in sweat. You might be sitting in a beach chair if you're lucky. You have on your visor. And so you're sitting in shade, but you're still very hot. And you crack open a Tupperware of ice cold grapes. Oh, I could cry. That sounds like an oasis of sorts. Another grape crunch ASMR coming your way. I will be looking forward to nothing more than eating frozen grapes at the beach. Or eating frozen grapes literally at any type of like outdoor hot event. But I think at the beach, that's going to take it. So I've really been enjoying frozen grapes lately. They've been like the biggest thing I'm obsessed with. Recently, I've also been enjoying... So for those who... Well, I guess a lot of y'all wouldn't know because I haven't talked about it yet on the podcast. And it's not really a big deal to me. Although I do feel the need to like preface it that like I'm fine, I think. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But... recently got diagnosed with prediabetes. It is what it is. I know my eating habits. Who was I telling this to the other day? I was saying that like I really shouldn't be surprised that I have. It's not funny. Maybe to some people this is like shocking and they like need a moment to collect themselves. For me, it's just kind of like whatever. But I really shouldn't be surprised that this is like this is what's happened, because one of my favorite childhood snacks, I used to be obsessed with eating. At the same time, mind you, I would get one of the wild berry Pop-Tarts. You know, that's the Pop-Tart with like the purple icing on it with the like electric blue zigzag over it. I would eat 2 of those and a tall glass of Sunny D. I hate to say it, prediabetes was in the cards for me. And then also, I was just telling one of my friends this the other day, but I was just talking about how I had like a craving for ice cream lately, and I think it's just because the weather's getting warm. But one of my favorite ice cream flavors is Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake. And the summer that I discovered that flavor, you guys, the way I would stockpile those little pints in the freezer. And I won't, don't judge me, you guys. Don't judge me. Look, listen. I'd have a pint a night. Okay, all right, whatever. Let it go. I can help it. I didn't feel like anything was happening, so I would just eat them. It wouldn't be for a full week. It wouldn't be 7 days in a week I'm eating a pint every single night. But I might have like 3 pints in a week. And what about it? Like, what do you want from me? Leave me alone. I'm not doing it anymore. I can't be surprised though. But in any regard, because of that, one of my things I wanted to focus on this year was going to the doctors, going to all my doctors, and getting all my medical shit checked out. And not only getting it checked out, but actually doing something about it. So like, for example, I had this bump on my scalp for the longest time, and I didn't know where it came from. I just know that one day, my senior year of college, I went to go get my hair done for graduation, and the lady was like, you have this bump in your head? I said, ma'am, I hate to say it. I hope I don't sound ridiculous. I don't know who that man is. He could be walking down the street and I wouldn't know a thing. I didn't know I had that in my scalp. And she said it was nothing, so I never really paid attention to it. And I feel like sometimes it would be like flat, like under my hair, so I wouldn't really see it. But other times it would poke out and I just like wouldn't, I don't know, like it didn't stand out too much, so I never really minded it. But then recently, I think just given like all the things that have happened in my life, like to my mom and whatnot, like the big C, I'm like, well, shit, like let me figure out what this could be, just so I'm not, not doing anything. So I go to the doctor. Well, I started doing some research about it, and of course, Reddit and WebMD told me I was dying. But I was like, I don't think that's it. And then I came to the suggestion that like maybe it is I thought it was maybe like a mole growing on my head or something. And then I think I ended up thinking it was like a keloid or something. And then, but here's the thing, it's all connected because keloids more often than not are related to having diabetes. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just get it checked out and see what's going on. Go to my primary care physician. She's like, it's not that. She's like, honestly, looking at it, it doesn't look like it's anything, but I'll send you to a dermatologist. I go to a dermatologist. They take it off that day. They burned it off and then they cauterized it, which was an experience. I smelled, my scalp smelled like burning hair and flesh for a little bit, but that was a moment in time. They took the thing off. They sent it off for testing. It came back benign. So we're good. Now I don't have the bump in my scalp anymore. And that's one medical thing I got checked off my list. The prediabetes was another thing because I had gotten the diagnosis before, but I was like, I'm just going to not do anything and I hope it'll go away. Stupid. Don't listen to me, right? So this time around, I'm trying to do things better. I'm trying to like take better care of myself. So after getting that diagnosis, I went to go see a nutritionist, and she was super helpful in giving me like all these tips and tricks, not tips and tricks, but like dietary things that I should start doing. I kind of like told her what I've been doing already since I got the diagnosis, and she was very affirming and basically saying that I was doing like all the right things. So it was really nice to hear. As someone who also has had like rough experiences within the medical industry as a fat Black woman, like you have to understand it's very rare that you find a doctor that doesn't make you feel like a piece of shit afterwards. So it was really nice. And a lot of the stuff that I started doing prior to seeing the nutritionist, but after I got my diagnosis, it was already stuff on the right track. So I'm feeling very confident about it. I think I was nervous about like, am I going to have to like change cold turkey? And yeah, sure, that's an option for some people. For me, and this is what I told nutritionists, I was like, it's just difficult for me because clearly I've been eating like this for some time now. And I was like, truthfully, I've been eating like this all my life. So I don't think going cold turkey is going to be feasible. And she told me you don't have to. And she gave me all these ideas about how to balance out like your plates and whatnot, like making sure you have certain food groups, and not food groups, but like food types. So like things with fiber, things with protein, things like that. And it's been cool, I guess, to like try new things. And like, I think what I was saying this on TikTok live the other day when I was on, but I was like, one of the things that feels so rewarding about this experience is like, I always thought that like reading nutrition labels was like really complicated, because it, like, if you don't know what you're looking for, those labels, it can feel overwhelming. It can be a lot. But I think depending on what you're looking for from a label, once you figure it out, once you know what you're reading, it is actually so simple. And that's like a really small thing, but to me that feels so gratifying, because I'm like, okay, maybe some of this doesn't have to be that difficult. Maybe sometimes it really is just knowing what your body needs, looking at the numbers on the label, and seeing if it helps, or I won't say hurts, like if it helps you, or if it's not, or if it's a little bit counterintuitive to what you want. So yeah. So I've been enjoying that. I've been trying like some pre-diabetes meals. I've been using different pastas. So I used a chickpea pasta recently. She was okay, a little strange. And then I recently just tried this protein pasta, a little bit better because it still tasted like actual pasta. I've been cooking with a lot more salmon, been eating a lot more veggies. I've been doing fruits a lot. And it's not that I wasn't doing these things, but I just wasn't doing them in large enough quantities. So I've been doing that. My favorite pre-diabetes snack right now is I'll take an apple, a nice apple, cut it up into slices, get me a nice glob of peanut butter on a plate. I might even put some chocolate chips in it just for a little bit of sweetness, just a tad bit of sweetness. And I'll eat the apples and peanut butter. And wouldn't you know it, kind of a bomb dish. Kind of the bomb.com. So I've been enjoying it. I've also really been liking, now I'm eating with a full mouth, hold on. I've also really been enjoying, I've been making, for those who don't know, I'm a big coffee girl. I have a cup of coffee every day. Probably not the best, but you can't win them all. I've been enjoying making protein coffee. Protein is one of the things that helps keep your blood sugar low. So I make my coffee, and instead of adding milk to it, I just add like a protein shake. So I'm getting my coffee and I'm getting my protein. And I don't have to sweeten the coffee because protein shakes have a little bit, I don't know if they have sugar in them. I mean, I'm assuming so because they taste sweet. So like they have to have some sugar. I think the thing is that they have more protein than sugar in them. But it's all fun. And sometimes am I sad? Not sad, but sometimes do I look at that bag of Nerds clusters over there and I'm like, it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Okay, I'm not going to keep going. But yes, do I want to devour that entire bag in one night? Yes. And in another life I would have. But it's about moderation. It's about putting your health first. So I've been enjoying that. This is the first time I actually had my things planned out ahead of time, except now I'm forgetting the last thing. There's something else I've been enjoying, but I forgot. I need to crack my back anyway. Maybe it'll give me time to think. Oh my God. I hope when I'm editing that podcast, I hope I can turn it up so y'all can hear that back crack. That was incredible. Oh my God. I think that's kind of it that I've been enjoying right now. And I've been enjoying spring cleaning. One, I just posted a cleaning video on TikTok and it went viral, which is pretty cool. But I cleaned my apartment. Like, there's some areas that were taken up by just bags of things I want to get rid of. And now that I've gotten rid of it, I can like see some floor space in my apartment. And I generally have a clean apartment, but there's something about an area that was reserved by bags of items for so long that now that area is clear, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but if you're watching, it's the area over there, the far right of the screen, probably in the bottom corner under that black chair. I don't think you can. If you can see it though, that area has had bags under it for the longest time. And now that I can see the floor space, it just makes it all the more better. But I did like a nice semi-deep clean of my apartment. The only thing I didn't do is the baseboards, but I'm a pretty clean person, but there's something about doing the baseboards that's like, what else do you want me to do? Mop the walls, which some people do on the regular, but I'm just like, I just can't. Even though the walls in my bathroom somehow need to be mopped. Like, I don't know, like, I know that like dust can get everywhere, but there's like random orange spots on my wall that you would think that I like flung some type of orange product onto my wall, but I don't know where it's from. There's also like some yellow spots on my wall. And sometimes my hair gets stuck to the wall and it's really gross. So I'm like, I guess I'm going to have to mop the wall sometime. And I think I'm going to have to get like down on my hands and knees and like clean my baseboards. My only problem is that most walls, I feel like in places that I've lived, the walls have like a top coat on them that makes them shiny and also makes them like slippery to the touch, if that makes sense. My walls here don't have that top coat on them, so they're not shiny. Basically, I feel like I can't wipe them. At least not in the main part. In the bathroom, they do have that. But in the main part of the house, like on the baseboards, it doesn't have that shininess, so I feel like I can't wipe it. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying? No, because it does make sense. Never mind. I'll shut up. But if you know what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. But yeah, in any regard, I got some magic erasers. I think I'm going to get down on my hands and knees sometime before April is over and clean the baseboards. And now, you know what? I'm a big fan of deep cleaning. What I'm not going to do is move too much furniture around. Like, if you think, like, for example, right here in I call this my living room because it does feel like the living room of my apartment, even though it's a studio apartment. Right here in this living room, if you think that I'm moving these 2 chairs and the coffee table off this rug to clean under it, you're crazy. It doesn't need to be cleaned under. There's nothing under it. The rug has been kept down. I'm not getting under the rug. Now, back there in my dressing area, which is off camera, but I have a dressing area over there on the far side of my apartment, and it has like a checkerboard rug. The rug doesn't cover the entire space, so there are some areas that's just like plain wood floor, but it's like the areas under my my 2 drawers, it's very dusty under there. I could probably stand to do something about that, but I won't. I won't, because I've done enough. I've done enough. I'm a big fan of deep cleaning, but sometimes we have to know when enough is enough. Maybe one day when that ADHD tick really gets to me and I'm like, I can't stand this anymore. Because sometimes I do become hyper aware of something that's really like truly out of sight, out of mind. I'm like, it was bothering me and I feel like my apartment is disgusting because of it. And actually, now that I look under there, I think my therapy, like my massage therapy ball is under there. So I might clean under there. I don't know. But also, you know how dusty floors get sometimes? Like sometimes when I'm like in here and the sunlight is like coming in and it highlights the floors, I'm like, where's all this dust coming from? That's the one thing that they don't tell you. Big dust incorporated. Where is all this dust coming from? What is dust? I know dust is like dead skin cells, right? But like, what else is it? What else is dust? Where is it coming from? And why is it put a nice thick coat on my floors every 2 to 3 business days? Where does it come from? Like every single time I turn around, I have to dust off my 2 lamps on my side tables. Where is this coming from? Someone explain it to me. I need a scientist to explain to me quickly where dust is coming from and why is it so much? And also, why is it invisible around the toilet until I'm like trying to clean that bottom part of the toilet where like it just gets really gross? I spray some cleaner down there and I'm like, well, let me just clean up around the toilet as well. I take one swipe and that paper towel is, oh my God, it makes me want to throw up thinking about it. I cleaned around my toilet last Friday and it was disgusting. And it wasn't like pee or anything. It was just like a lot of dust. Now, obviously, some of it could have been hair because obviously I do my hair in the bathroom. Hair's going to fall out. I'm not going to catch all of it. But I'm almost sure a lot of it was dust. Where the is it coming from? How often should we be dusting? Or how often should we be vacuuming? Some people say you should vacuum once a day. I think that's a little nutty. I'm not doing it once a day. But maybe I should because apparently there's dust everywhere. Anywho, it might not sound like it, but those are things I've been enjoying lately. To recap, what did I say? These grapes from Aldi. Finding different foods for my prediabetes diagnosis and the product of spring cleaning my apartment. Please let me know, like I said in the beginning of the segment, please let me know some things you've been enjoying lately so we can talk about it, because that's the fun on this podcast, is that me and you talk to each other all the time, because we're what? Best friends, period. All right, next up. So I spend a lot of time on social media and on Twitter. Someone should do a video about the downfall of Twitter. I used to love Twitter, and I still do a lot of the times. Twitter is fun. There's a lot of like just super funny things on there. But something that Twitter has become recently, it just seems like it is just people constantly arguing, people rage baiting each other, and just sometimes just people just talking the talk. And it just don't make no sense. But one of the topics that I've seen recently that I think is truly just people talking to talk is the idea of Doechii, the swamp princess herself, being an industry plant. I don't know when it happened. I couldn't pinpoint exactly the date, time, or year that this happened. But there was a moment in time where the internet learned the phrase industry plant, and they never shut the fuck up about it. Once that word dropped on Twitter, everybody became an industry plant. Any artist who saw success and you were not a direct fan of theirs, but you were just seeing how quickly they grew, anybody was an industry plant. And it gets to a point, where it's just kind of like, do we know the definition? Are we just mad that we're not in the in crowd? Is this person that you're calling an industry plant, are they just outdoing your fave, so you feel some type of way. So I guess you can tell by my tone, I do feel very like heated by this. I'm a fan of doechii. When doechii won the Grammy for Best Rap Album, I cried. I like her a lot. I don't know all of her songs. I know mainly the singles and then some of her like earlier stuff, but it was just something so beautiful about watching this new rapper, her also being a dark-skinned woman. I think also her style being very alt and her rapping abilities being so different. All of those things, watching someone like that win that Grammy made me so contact happy for her. I literally cried. So as you can tell, I mean, there's a bit of an emotional investment for me to doechii. But this is me saying this now, I objectively do not think she is an industry plant for some of the reasons that we're going to talk about. So when we look at the definition, one, if you didn't know this, I think I probably said it on here before, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Communications. One of the things that's very key in communications is defining your terms. So right now, we are going to define the term of what it means to be an industry plant. An industry plant is an artist who is funded, promoted, and developed by a label, but presented as an independent grassroots success story. The goal is to make them seem more like an underdog than a product of the industry. I took some notes on why I think maybe people do accuse doechii of being an industry plant. I'm going to try to push this from a very objective standpoint, even though I think I've made my feelings known. Some people believe, I think the general consensus is that people feel like her rise to fame was too quick, and then obviously her winning her Grammy on her first album does not help that claim, right? She signed to TDE, and people felt like she got a big industry push because of that. A lot of people say that her TikTok success was heavily orchestrated instead of being more organic. Now, even though I insinuated that I felt like Twitter only learned, or maybe the internet only learned what industry plant was very recently, industry plants have been around for a while. Industry plants have probably been around since the dawn of music. But the more relevant examples that I can think of when I think about like the pop era of the early 2000s, like the 90s and the 2000s, I think of like that perfectly curated image of the boy band. The boy band formula was very down pat. You had like however many boys you had, probably like 4 or 5, and you had the heartthrob, you had the bad boy, you had the funny goofy one, you had the shy one. You know what I'm saying? Like you had these prototypes of them. When you look at boy bands like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, you have these groups where their image is manufactured. They're like kind of archetypes are manufactured for them. Some of their songs are written for them, especially earlier in their career when they're trying to appeal to that young girl audience who wants like that teenage heartthrob moment. But also their image is heavily controlled. And I think that's what led to a lot of that rebellion from those 90s and like early 2000s kid stars, is that heavily controlled image from like that heavily controlled image that is a part of planting them in the industry. Although I don't think the former industry plant is similar to the industry plant that we talk about today. When you look at other pop icons like Britney Spears was literally marketed as the girl next door. Her video for Hit Me Baby One More Time, that's the one, right? Yeah, where she's wearing the schoolgirl outfit. She was marketed as like this hot young girl next door. She, blonde hair, beautiful smile, pretty eyes, like just that typical girl next door kind of charm that she had to her. Was that who she was really? Who's to say? But the music industry saw they saw a spot that could be filled by, and they took this person, they took Britney Jean, and they said, she has the blonde hair, she has a smile, we can create her into this. We can plant her into the industry as that. Even if you look at someone like Avril Lavigne is a very interesting person because she came on the scene as this alternative, like, why you have to go and make, and then turn around and like within the past, like what, 5-10 years, she made that one song, like the Hello Kitty, like very different. There was this need, after we got this rise of super girly, super poppy music, there was this push for us to have more of an alternative style, to still represent, oh, she's a fun, cute girl, but she's a rocker, she's a tomboy, Even as we look at more recent-ish examples, but in other genres, and we look at someone like Macklemore was presented as, he came out as like this indie success story. And of course he would. His first song was about thrift shop, like going to a thrift store and shopping. Like, of course he's going to come off as like indie, as independent and stuff like that. But he benefited from a massive support from the music industry, from labels. Like, and I'm saying all this now, I didn't know this at the time. This is things that I found out through research. Because if you had asked me before I started looking all this up, I would think, oh yeah, Macklemore was like this small time artist who, you know, he just happened to have luck and one of his 6 songs got big. If you look at someone like Iggy Azalea got this huge push in the rap industry despite having no credibility. No credibility, no money, no family, 16 in the middle of Miami. Now, one thing I will say, I've been up all night trying to get that rich. I've been work, working on my shit. If that song was manufactured for her, they ate that one thing. They ate that one little thing up. Now, what really ruined it for her was her freestyle. Tie your marks, big bop, boom to the back. Egg word, please. But I'll always give her, I can't give her 10s. I'll give her 8s for work. You know, money, you know, family. 16 in the middle of Miami. Good song. But I'm saying all that to say that industry plants are not a new thing. They have always existed because record labels and the industry have always been trying to fill in gaps that they see within musical trends. You know what I'm saying? So like, right. And I think with that being said, there wasn't really a gap that doechii came and filled. I think she brought something definitely new to the rap game, especially the female rap game. But I won't, if we're talking about an industry plant being someone that is here to push back on an image of rappers or to do something different. Did doechii do something different? Yes, but I don't think it was intentional. I think her style was completely her own. I don't think she was, quote unquote, put into the industry to change things up. Doechii's not changing the way that other people rap. She's not challenging the way that other people rap. All the other female artists are still going to do what they do. Doechii's bringing her own sense of style and flow and just all around celebrityness to the rap game. I also would say that if we're looking at industry plants in the classic sense and them being in need for labels to control their artists, I don't think that, I don't think doechii's sound is controlled at all. Again, I do think she owns her own sound. So it got me thinking about what artists could be considered actual industry plants. Based on what I found on the internet, there are some artists who are confirmed or at least highly suspected to be industry plants. The first one being Olivia Rodrigo. First of all, love her. And I love all the people that are probably on here, but these are just some of the reasons that people think these people are. Olivia Rodrigo has been seen as one because she was a Disney star, so she already had industry connections. And then her hit single Driver's License was marketed as a surprise breakout hit, but her debut album had major label planning. And while I could see that, yeah, sure. The biggest thing about industry plant is that they come off as independent, but they do have these connections already. And while I could see why people would say that about Olivia Rodrigo and her Disney connects, I still think, I don't know, did she have connections before that? And obviously, yeah, she's a Disney star, but I will say how many people were actually watching the High School Musical series? And I'm not saying it flopped. I don't think it flopped by any means. But if we're saying that Driver's License was marketed as a big surprise hit, but her debut album had major planning, I think one, okay, and then for the second point, Driver's License was marketed as a surprise breakout hit, but her debut album had major label planning. I think that Driver's License was marketed as a surprise debut hit because it was so jarring as to what was being talked about. And then her album, I think, had label planning behind it because not only was it her debut album and it was something that was going to, I think, break her away from her Disney image. If y'all think about it, her debut album was her talking about not only what happened between her and her co-star and ex-boyfriend, Joshua Bassett, but also talking about what happened between her, Joshua Bassett, and Sabrina Carpenter. I think an album like that for a Disney star, I think it does deserve some heavy label influencing. Now, I don't know how much the label was influenced, but I don't know how much influence the label had, but I still could see the argument, right? Billie Eilish is one that I had heard about and I already kind of semi-knew about. So Billie Eilish, her parents were already her industry connections. Her parents were actors. So she already had these kind of connections within the industry. And when she first came out, her label did make it seem like she was this deep kind of underground alt artist. And I'm telling you this right now, when I first heard Ocean Eyes, I was like, oh my God, who is this who is this unknown, tiny, like, you know, small artist? And come to find out, it's Billie the Eilish. Like, and that's fine. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess in one way you could argue that maybe it's nepotism. Going back to Iggy Azalea, not to jump my girl Iggy, right? Iggy had no true connections or cosigns in the rap industry. One thing about rap that I don't know if it's the same for other genres, but one thing about rap, you get credibility from artists co-signing you, whether that's them shouting you out on social media or a bigger artist, you know, hopping on a remix of your song or hopping on a song with you in general. That's how you get cosigns. And Iggy didn't really have a lot of that. But somehow she was still pushed as a major mainstream act. Now, I think it came out later that, like, T.I. was someone who was, like, really co-signing her. But, like, that just felt, that will always feel like a weird connection to me. Like, something about that feels very heavily orchestrated. And, you know, Iggy, for what it's worth, did she have some good songs? Yes. But, like, I do think it's clear that her image was very heavily curated, especially compared to who she is now. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest signs of if someone is an industry plant. If they are so different than who they debuted as. Obviously, we love artists who can genre bend and explore. But if you are missing key components of yourself, someone like a Post Malone, it is kind of like, well, your image was heavily curated to do this, and now you're doing something completely different. You use this to get you in the industry. And now, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's interesting. One that I didn't know about, and I won't let people disrespect him, get behind me, Jack, please, is Jack Harlow. He was industry backed, but framed as an internet success story, co-signed by none other than that bitch. Co-signed by Drake into mainstream rap, despite little initial demand from the rap community. I didn't know all this. I didn't know who Jack Harlow was until I heard Was Poppin'. And I wasn't even impressed by him then. But then I actually saw what he looked like, and I said, wait, oh my God, wait. And another one on here. Can I not eat these grapes while I'm trying to read this outline? Oh my God. And then another one on here is Lorde. Lorde was framed as an indie act who blew up on Tumblr, but her entire rollout was industry funded. Royals was heavily placed in curated playlists and radio long before she was known. And it's crazy because I grew up, like, that song was definitely, like, in my era of growing up with music, and I would have no idea of knowing this, but the common thing between all the artists that I just named is that the whole idea was for them to appear independent, to appear like they had organic success, and to appear like, basically, like they got it out on their own. They made it out the mud. They basically, like, kind of somewhat like a rags to riches story. Now, to some extent, some of their stories could still be taken as that. Did Iggy Azalea truly not have any money or any family and she was 16 in the middle of Miami? Yes, that could be true. But it is the way that your label will use your story to push you out to people. Because even though now it seems kind of like people are kind of iffy on nepotism, I feel like back when I was coming up, people didn't want to hear from nepotism. People didn't want to hear from nepo babies. We wanted to see artists, actors, directors, athletes who we knew came from the same background as us. And if it wasn't the same background, we could at least empathize with them. I can't empathize with Billie Eilish and both of her parents being actors, but I can empathize with Iggy Azalea. I cannot stop using her as an example. No money, no family, 16 and then that lyric, Igward, you ate. But it's just, it's used as a marketing ploy to get you to identify with this artist. So you can, in your mind, subliminally, you can identify with them and then you can support them because you created a connection, a parasocial relationship between the artist, their struggles, and what you've been through. Is being an industry plant a bad thing? It's only a bad thing if you lean into the grassroots or the got it out the mud or the rags to riches story. If you lean so much into the story and people are able to poke holes in your story, I do think that's when it's a bad thing. But at its core, do I think it's a bad thing if a label takes a strong hand in curating a superstar? I think the only reason now why people think industry plants are a bad thing is because we see, or we just have a deeper appreciation maybe for music that tells us a story And if your entire image is so curated and we find out that you have no meaning in it, it kind of almost feels like a Black Mirror episode in a way. Like, it kind of feels like you're almost portraying a character. Like, it makes it feel like we don't have any real, music is art, and art is connected to your feelings and your experiences. And if everything you do is so heavily curated, then how can we really truly enjoy your music? I mean, you can put on a mindless song, and just kind of vibe to it. But I've always said that when artists create music and it's narrative based, or we know that it connects to something personal in their lives, I think that it makes it that much more meaningful. You know what I'm saying? Like, the first song I thought of was Ben by Michael Jackson, which is so weird. But like, Ben is a beautiful song. It's a lovely song. Knowing that Michael Jackson wrote that about his little pet mouse that his dad ended up killing, or at least getting rid of in some capacity, it makes it all the more meaningful. So in part, I do see why industry plans are bad, but at its core, if it's a label that is trying to control an image, it's almost like to a point where I kind of think it's just like a marketing ploy. And I think there's a way to be an industry plant but still be authentic in yourself. What I've noticed, so why I think Stan Twitter calls everyone an industry plant. So one thing I've noticed is that it typically is a lot of Stan accounts, typically of Nicki Minaj. But Barbs, I'm not coming for y'all. I'm just making a slight observation. I won't weigh in on whether or not I think that doechii is reheating Nicki's nachos. I won't weigh in on it. I see some similarities, but I also think that doechii's sound is very original. So I won't weigh in on it. But more often than not, whenever someone is accused of being an industry plant, it is usually from other Stan accounts. And I think for me, that is one, in part, what makes Twitter not fun anymore, is sometimes it really is just Stan accounts arguing with each other. And it's just like, are these unemployed adults, or are these high school children who are not paying attention in chemistry class? Because there's just no way you are constantly fighting with people online all the time. Like, this is your job. It's like, please put the phone down. But then also, I think the internet, once they find someone who they don't like, it's very easy to then create conspiracies about how they got their rise to fame. Like an artist who someone thinks isn't that talented, and they think they're an industry plant. They take a picture with someone like Taylor Swift, for example, who obviously is a very big artist. They take a picture next to her at the Grammys, and all of a sudden it's like, see, I knew they weren't artists, because why would they be taking a picture together? And it's like, babe, like, the Grammys is literally one big photo op. Like, all people do between commercials at the Grammys, what do you think celebrities are doing? All they're doing is taking pictures with each other. That's literally it. That's just an example, though. I also think people look at TikTok. People see TikTok songs going viral as a label push. People don't even think that that's organic. But I will say, as someone who spends a lot of time on TikTok, you would be surprised how songs can go viral on there. A song can go viral, yes, from an artist posting it on there and people being like, oh, do this challenge to my song. I personally don't see that much. The songs that go really popular truly are from the girlies who put those songs in the background of their videos just for no reason. It could be like a cleaning video, and all you hear is Drake's, who's calling my phone, who's calling that shit. And that's how that song goes popular, because so many people are just using it in their videos. There are some aspects, and I know some artists have come on TikTok and say like, oh, my label wants me to like push this song out on here. And some people think of that as like them being like rebellious and exposing the secrets of the industry. I think it would be foolish to think that an artist would do that. I think that is even an industry thing as well. Like, obviously, like, I don't, even though I'm about to make a point that I do think that a lot of TikTok success is very natural, people do think TikTok success is label driven because of artists who do things like, oh, my label told me to make a TikTok, so LOL, here I am, listen to my new song. And they try to have this like nonchalant, cavalier attitude about it. But even that is industry created. Don't let these people fool you. But in any regard, I do think that sometimes there's some success. There are some song successes on there that are completely organic, by people creating dances and then people using them in the background of videos, people making it a trend. Like, you even see like old songs become trends on there because it just happens. Like, I'm trying to think of an old song right now that's a trend. I don't know. I'd have to like scroll on TikTok for a little bit. Let's see. There was a not Trick Daddy. What is this person's name? Run DM. No. Oh my God. I'm having a brain fart. What is his name? MC Hammer. I don't know what song it is, but he says, "Shut up, lockjaw." Like, that song is going popular on TikTok. That wasn't industry plan. It's literally just happenstance. You know what I'm saying? So I do think in part there are some label orchestrated parts to TikTok fame, but I do think some of it is very natural. And then, of course, you know, the main accusatory thing, stan accounts or stans in general will often accuse artists of being industry plants to discredit them. It's so much easier to say, oh, this person, of course this person is beating out my fave. Their industry is behind them, instead of just saying, oh, dang, this person might have my fave washed. And to be fair, I would never admit if one of my faves was washed. I'm going down with the ship, mind you that. But yeah, sometimes they just don't like the artist, and industry plant is used as an insult. Instead of maybe just actually calling out actual marketing tactics, it's used as an insult. And if your image is so authentically you, being called an industry plant could be an insult, because it's like, oh, so you think I'm fake. You think I'm playing. I have a Glock. No. There's one thing about it. I'm going to quote that specific line from Kamala Harris all the time. It's the way she said it. I have a Glock. The reasons why I don't think doechii is an industry plant. She had songs go viral before she even blew up on TikTok. Her first song that went viral was Yucky Blucky Fruitcake. And as I was working on this outline, I was like, I don't know this song from her. I looked it up. Sure as shit, I do remember it. It was trending on TikTok in 2019 and 2020. So doechii's success is not new. And this was back before labels and celebrities were on TikTok like that. Honey, that success she had was very much her own doing. She also was very successful because her style was very new. Like, her diction and the way that she rapped and just her approach to it, it was similar to this. It was similar to Doja Cat in the sense that it was so new. You had never really heard someone rap like that. You never really heard someone rap with these beats that didn't have these heavy drums and like hi-hats and snare. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very not typical rap beats. And so I think that was also something that kind of catapulted her into further starlight. Her being signed to TDE. Obviously, TDE is full of some of the big rap names right now. And I'd be remiss to say that obviously TDE has signed, and I think also Kendrick probably owns a percentage of TDE records. Like, I think some of the hate could be residual from Drake fans who are just a tad bit upset still, but it is what it is. But I think TDE has a reputation of not signing plants. They sign artists who already have momentum and artists that they are looking to give that push from their already organic following. So, I also think doechii's versatility is one that stands out for itself. Do I think you could take somebody who has enough agility to dance and enough vocal capacity to perform live and you could make them into a performer? Yes. But what I will say is that I've watched doechii's performance from the Grammys probably at least once a week. It is one of the most incredible performances I've seen from a rap artist in a very long time. That kind of talent is going to be front and center. It was an incredible performance. It was dynamic. It was captivating. You never knew where to look, but in a good way, because you're looking at the dancers, you're looking at doechii. Like, it's all so incredible. Honey, the talent. She's not an industry plant. The talent is the thing that planted her there. And I think also people thought she was an industry plant because after she won her Grammy, the YouTube video that she had posted a while ago of her being like, so I just quit my job and I'm just going to put everything into my art now and whatever happens, happens. People thought that was even orchestrated. But to me, that is almost the exact reason why we know her journey is not fabricated. Is it complete happenstance that she made that video not knowing what would happen? Yes. But sometimes that's what happens when you bet on yourself. doechii made that video to document her journey, and now she has this incredible thing to look back on and say, wow, I quit my job this day and I didn't know what the was going to happen. And now here she is. She won a Grammy, her first Grammy for her first album. I think it was at the Billboard something. She was celebrated as Woman of the Year. Like, doechii, she's doing it. I don't know. I just truly don't understand how you could look at the trajectory of her career and say this was orchestrated by by a label when her career has been so long and she's been making music for such a long time. I just think in general, I think if I have to conclude my final statement, doechii is not, capital N, capital O, capital T, not an industry plant. I think social media sometimes had a tendency to exaggerate the influence of a label just based on how other artists have come in. So maybe there's some distrust between consumers of media and the labels themselves. But I do think that social media has a tendency to exaggerate that relationship or exaggerate that a trajectory of an artist's career. But I do think we need to, again, we need to be able to define our terms. Is an artist being pushed or are they being planted? Was this push made after there were a lot of successful attempts at their music career? Like, is this push something that is warranted? doechii was putting out music for years. She signed to a label and they're like, okay, we see the talent, we see the material, we're going to give you that push. Or one day, did you turn on the radio in your car and all of a sudden, the radio producer saying, here's the hottest artist. If you don't know who this is, you're behind on the times. And this artist is going to blow your socks off. No. What is it? We have to know what it is. We can't just assume that someone's in an industry plant because we don't listen to them, but we see everyone else talking about them and we don't know how they got there. So we assume they're an industry plant. That's not smart. That's not smart. Success does not always mean an industry conspiracy. Sometimes it just means that person is talented. And I'm going to touch your hand when I say that. There are genuinely some talented people out there. Now I can get into the reasons why people want to discredit doechii. I mean, she's a dark-skinned black woman. People don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear it. And whether people do it consciously or not, I do think that is in the back of some people's minds. They're so willing to discredit her because she's a dark-skinned black woman. I think also people are so ready to cut her off because she did this. I think she did one of those chicken shop dates with Amelia, and she said something like, "Oh, I hate men." And here come everybody from the woodworks. The hating men trend is so tired. Okay, but what if it's not a trend anymore? What if we're actually not joking? To quote Coco Montrese from RuPaul's Drag Race, "I'm not joking, bitch." What if? I thought that was really weird. If you are not on Twitter, you're probably thinking that I'm sinking my teeth into things that aren't that big of a deal. But when I tell you, when that clip came out, when she said, "I hate men," you would have thought that she said something like, "Oh, I kick grandmothers down in the street," the way people were writing dissertations about her. The black women's way of constantly putting down men. Shut up. Shut the up. Hating men is so... Okay, but what if she does hate men? I'm sure doechii's not the first woman you've heard talk shit about a man. And judging by the way men have been acting lately, it surely won't be the last. Now wake that up. Now clock that tea. Now clock that gag, sis. Anywho, y'all leave doechii alone. Leave her alone. She is incredibly talented and she has earned her spot. And she is going to do wonderful things in the music industry. I can't wait to see what else is next for her. I think I'm almost sure. She's been on some of the tour stops for Tyler, the Creator's tour because she has a song with him. I'm almost sure that doechii is opening for Kendrick and SZA on their tour. I'm going to look it up. Oh, she's not. There were rumors and speculation. She'll probably be at some shows, though. But actually, no, I don't know because she doesn't have any songs with them. Not that an opening artist needs to have songs with the artist that's touring, but I do feel like there usually is some overlap. I don't know. I guess only time will tell. But y'all leave doechii alone. But don't leave this podcast alone because we have one more segment to get through. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hi, gorgeous. Don't forget to follow the pod on social media, otherwise you'll break my heart. You can find me on Instagram at the Realer Than Real Podcast and on TikTok at the Realer Than Real Pod. K, love you, bye.
Okay, and we are back, and for anyone that's curious, that break was only long enough for me to switch out the battery on my camera because I'm so excited to talk about this last segment because I'm so excited to get into it because I saw some of these responses and I'm ready to talk. So if you're not following the podcast on Instagram, I don't know what the is your problem. but I love you. And I'm here to say that I'm here to help you and support you through this journey of following the podcast on Instagram. So that the next time I do one of these, you can be involved. I asked people on Instagram to give me some of their hottest takes, their most controversial opinions. And some of these are really good. I got a lot of good responses. So one, thank you to everyone who decided to do this. I appreciate it every time because honestly, you know how hard it is to get people to respond to your story. And it gets to a point where it feels personal. Because not only did I post it and I was like, oh, respond to this story, like do this thing. I posted a story right after that being like, hey, LOL, you went past the last post. Go back and answer the question. And some of y'all still didn't do it. Now, do you hate me or are you just hard-headed? Do you hate orphans or are you just hard-headed? Now, exactly, I'll let you sit with that. But anyway, I think first it would be fun for me to say some of my hot takes so we can just make everyone a little bit more comfortable, because sometimes it's really difficult to say your hot takes and you don't know like if you'll be judged or not. And I do want to say for some of these, for all of them, I'm going to try not to judge anyone. I'm just going to like respond to them. We're going to have an open and honest conversation about them. So I was saying I revealed one of these when I was on live, but my first hot take is that there are some artists you only need to see once in a lifetime. And what I mean by that is like, if you see your favorite artist already, I just feel like it takes away the magic if you see them multiple times. Like, so for me, right, the Cowboy Carter tour is coming up and I'm going with my cousin. While I would have loved it, I think if I saw Beyonce, if I saw the Renaissance tour, which I love the Renaissance album, so I wish I went to that tour. If I saw that tour, I don't think I would have gone to this one. Not because I don't like the album, but I'm like, okay, I saw Beyonce once. She's like a once-in-a-lifetime artist for me. I feel like if there are just some artists, I feel like if you see them multiple times, it kind of ruins it almost. I don't know. So like, for example, another example. I've seen Bruno Mars, right? Bruno Mars performed at the Maryland Preakness, and that was fine, but that wasn't a real concert. And also I'd like to say that experience was somewhat ruined because it was pouring down rain. I was wearing a dress and I had my makeup done, and this is when I was slicking back my hair, so I had pounds of gel in my hair and the rain was pouring down, so I couldn't even really see for real because my eyesight was blurred with gel and oil. So I'm gonna say Bruno Mars again, and I feel like if I see him just once in a seated concert venue, I'll be fine. I don't know though. I could be talking out my ass, but I don't know. When I hear people say like, oh, I've seen Beyonce 10 times. Why? And I'm like, not even like, why do you see Beyonce that much? I get it. But does it not ruin it? I just feel like she's someone who you just see like once. You see her once and you're like, that was enough for me. That fed my soul, that nourished my crops. I feel like a better woman for having seen her once. And I don't need to even try to replicate this high. And that's not to say that the next performance won't be good. But it's just, it feels like that first time you see her, this should be your only time. I don't know why I have that opinion. That's just my opinion. My next one is no more live action movies or 10-year-old sequels. Original ideas only. Of course, I'm talking about movies. Yeah, I'm quite done with the live action movies. I'm quite done with so, for example, the new Shrek movie coming out. Shrek came out, 300 years ago? There's no need for a follow-up. No one has been sitting around twiddling their thumbs being like, God, Shrek and Fiona had kids, but I want to know what they're up to now. It's just giving lazy on the parts of Hollywood. It really is. And, like, obviously I know that live action movies and animation movies like Shrek, obviously they're quite literally the opposite of lazy, because animators and whatnot, like, they all are working super hard. But I just want original scripts. I just want originality back. I don't want a movie that's building off something that's super old, and I don't want, there's no need to bring movies to life anymore. I don't need to see a live action version of Lilo and Stitch. I really don't. Why is that a thing? Those movies already exist. And as I am personally someone who loves animation, there's just some things you can do with animation that you can't do with live action. So, like, what's the point in recreating it? Let it exist as it is. Like, you can do maybe like a 10-year tribute to Lilo and Stitch, but we don't need a live action version. And I think maybe in part it's like trying to give the kids of today something that they can like call their own, I guess. But I don't want it. I don't want to get rid of it. We don't need it. Get rid of it. This is so funny because I was talking about this earlier, but I think the beach is only fun in theory. And this could just be for me because I don't really get in the water like that. So for me, I like the beach. Obviously, cute pictures can be taken and it can be a good time. Here's the thing though. Unless I have a chair and an umbrella, I'm automatically not having fun at the beach. I'm automatically not having fun at the beach. First of all, you lay down your towel. I don't care what 5-minute hack tip I see. There's always going to be sand on my towel. I don't know how. Sometimes I'm just laying there. And next thing I know, I got sand all up my legs and it's all over my towel. And I got to shake it off. And so I shake all the sand off, lay the towel back down. 5 minutes later, I'm covered in sand and so is my towel again. So that's the first part. The second part is, and again, it's probably just because me and because I don't get in the water that much, there's really nothing else to do there. So half the time I go to the beach, like usually I'll go with my grandmother, like for her birthday, we'll go to the beach and she just wants to go to the beach and tan. And I just end up sitting there. I'll like go to the water for a little bit, but I'm not getting too far in because I can't swim and I'll be damned if I drown at the beach and the lifeguard has to come save me. That's embarrassing. I won't recover from that. That's if I recover at all. But honestly, what ends up happening is I end up just taking a nap on the beach. And while honestly, that is some of the best sleep you'll get, I wake up disoriented. It's loud. The sun is out. It's just too much. The beach is fun, maybe for, I think, max an hour, maybe to an hour and a half. And that's after you get your pictures and you eat your beach snack. Other than that, I think the boardwalk is probably more fun. The beach can be cool, but I'm not really one for the water too much. But this could be a personal thing. But yeah, I think the beach is only fun in theory. But maybe now with my frozen grapes, it could be more fun. My last one, I think this might get people. I have tried, and I just truly don't see the hype with Frank Ocean. I know. The songs of his that I do like. Forrest Gump, Godspeed, Pink and White. Like, I like those songs. But when people are like, oh, I'm fiending for Frank to come back. Where's Frank Ocean? I'm like, let him be. I don't know. Like, I just have not felt that way about any of his music. The songs that I like, but I've never been fiending for a Frank Ocean comeback. And I don't know. I just don't get the hype. I just really don't see it. I'm sorry, y'all. So those are some of mine. Now we're going to get into some of the ones that were submitted. And I'm so excited for some of these. Starting off strong, a lot of the dating horror stories online start with someone ignoring a red flag and I immediately lose sympathy. Honestly, sometimes, yeah, like, I can't say I disagree. When I'm listening to a TikTok and they say something like, oh, I met this guy and on our first date, I'm pretty sure he was texting another girl, but I decided to give him another chance. I am just kind of like, did your discernment like clock out early that day, or did they put in a PTO request? Like, what's going on? I can't say I disagree. I do think sometimes, and also I think people just, especially when it comes to like retelling those stories on social media, I do think people just do things for the sake of the bit. And there's nothing more I love than committing to the bit. But if the bit is stupid, now you're also stupid. You're committed to a stupid bit and you're a stupid bit. This next one is funny. I'm done with context and nuance. Sometimes it just is black and white and I said what I said. Yes. Actually, yes. Because and I feel like I probably do this a lot in this podcast just because you never know who's listening. But I do feel like on social media, particularly on TikTok is where I see it the most, someone will say something like, I hate people who take the escalator, and but then they'll say something like, oh, but not if you're this and not if you're that and not if you're this. And it's like, well, duh, those things wouldn't apply to you. Like, I do think people try to preemptively stop people from arguing with them in the comments by putting all these disclaimers on their statements. And sometimes it's necessary, but other times it's just like, people have to have you have to have some type of wherewithal about yourself to know that if this person is complaining about something and you have a valid reason for doing it or for saying it or for using it, whatever the case may be, they're probably not talking about you. Not everything is well, actually, I do this because, okay, whatever. Do you want a cookie? Like, sometimes no one cares. I get that one. People use reality TV to get famous nowadays, and it's nauseating and takes away from the fun of it. I have to agree. I do feel like the thing that was so fun about reality TV back in the day is that, you know, these were seemingly just random girls that were picked up somewhere, and then afterwards they kind of just faded into obscurity. Like Pumpkin from Flavor of Love isn't she a nurse, I think? And I remember they showed New York her picture like 10 years later, and New York still has beef with that woman. But like, even from that, like that whole, out of the whole show, the whole, like, however long the series was of Flavor of Love, Tiffany New York Pollard is the only one to actually truly make it to some level of success or like some level of celebritydom. Whereas though now with reality TV, every single person becomes a known figure. And whether that's just because with the creation of social media or whatever, but I do feel like as someone who mainly watches reality competition TV shows, especially if you watch like Big Brother, you'll understand this, but it does kind of feel like it's like no one really wants to win the show anymore. Everyone just wants to make it far enough so they can get a social media following. And that does in part take you out of the competition bit of it, because it's like, well, are you playing to win or not? So I do get this. But I think this could apply to all social media right now, because on like whenever I'll see like a couple on TikTok and everyone in the comments is like, oh my God, like I wanted you guys to win. I'm like, oh, they're from something. And then it's just so confusing. Like I think particularly with like the Love Island stuff, I get so confused. Let's see. Oh, okay. This next one starts off crazy. So I'm going to let y'all know these are not my opinions. I'm just reading them. Wicked wasn't that good. It just had star power, and that's okay. I just wish everyone wasn't about to jump off the roof because it didn't win any Oscars. Well, I can't comment on it because I have not seen Wicked. I will say, though, that sometimes I do get a little weary of watching movies that have a ton of star power. But I haven't seen it yet, so I won't comment. You're bold for that. AI for art is bad. AI for efficiency is good. AI is very polarizing right now. I know right now on Twitter, there's this trend of like, you can create Studio Ghibli style art, which for those who don't know, Studio Ghibli is, I guess like a production studio that makes anime, and they have like a very distinct anime, or they have like a very distinct art style to their anime. And people have been making, using AI to recreate images, but in the Studio Ghibli animation format. And I get like people like having a good time with it, but it's kind of like disrespectful to the artists who have probably worked so long to like perfect and personalize that art style just for people to like be able to, you know, replicate it so easily with the click of a button or something. So I totally get that. And I think efficiency can also be debated, because I know that, like, you know, I think I saw this tweet recently. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but this person was like, I don't know how people used to do it. Like, I can't even write a 600-word essay without using AI. And it's like, if the students can't write a 600-word essay, chat, we might be cooked. So I don't know. I think it's a spectrum. And I think, you know, the unfortunate part about AI is that it's left up to humans who have free will, and humans are going to do what we want to do. So you have people that use it for for awful things. That was what Taylor Swift had to sue people over. If you know, you know, but some people use AI to create some rather disturbing images of Taylor Swift. Of course, it's football fans, which no tea, no shake to some of y'all, but the other ones, yeah, they're losers. That was weird. So I don't know. I think only time will tell. I do think AI is one of those things that probably could stand to be regulated a little bit more, but maybe with a government that has a little more common sense, because this government we got now is on some bullshit, and that's putting it lightly. But anyway, I go on. This one's funny. I'm sorry, but I like having stuff. Like, I know capitalism is bad, but I love having things. And honestly, you sharing that is very brave, and I get you. I'm not even gonna lie. I like buying stuff. Now, of course, and you know what? Actually, no, I'm not providing context, because like that other hot take said, sometimes I don't need context. I am going to provide a little bit of context here. Obviously, I think here's where I draw the line. When I see the girls who do like $500, $600, $700, $800 hauls on Shein, and you know how affordable the clothes is on Shein, that means that you got a bunch of stuff. I'm telling you right now, unless you are scrapping your entire, okay, unless you live in Alaska and you're moving to Florida and you have to scrap your entire wardrobe, there is no reason you should ever spend that much money on Shein. And you think I'm being dramatic. I see it on TikTok a lot of the time. I don't even think, like, I do think people have too much stuff now. I will say, though, there is sometimes, like, if you're spending your money responsibly and you're, like, actually using your products and things like that, there's something so rewarding about, like, I love buying stuff. I love thinking, oh, I need this. Let me go to a store. Let me buy it. Let me place an order online. It comes and I'm like, oh, I needed this thing and I have this thing. And I did it because I have the money to afford it. Like, I get it. I get you, girl. Like, capitalism sucks, but also let me buy my little things. I get it. People hate on Hailey Bieber because she got the guy. If the roles were reversed, they would hate Selena. Sure enough. I don't disagree. I don't know the full ins and outs of the Hailey Bieber, Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber thing. What I will say is I think it's just getting weird. I just think people on the internet are like too invested, and this is coming from me. And you know, there's nothing more I love than to be invested in celebrity drama. But it just feels like there's like this smear campaign against Hailey Bieber. Now, of course, I don't know the ins and outs, so I can't speak with full conviction, but like, can y'all relax? I mean, like, this woman's married. She has her baby. She has her business. Leave her alone. And I saw this video today because I guess somebody made a TikTok about her. She responded, and then people are like, oh, she's so bothered. Like, she sees everything online. She's so bothered. But it's like incessant, good word for me. Y'all are constantly talking about her. At some point, she's going to see it. I don't know. I think Hailey's in that situation where she can't win for losing. People are always going to like try and shit on her. So, I don't know. But ultimately, if this beef is about Justin, I think people are mad that, you know, she ended up with Justin and Selena didn't. But Selena is also in a happy relationship with someone else. So everyone just needs to let it go. Let it go. I don't think you can come if you want is a bad thing. I'm basically giving you the choice. I'm saying if you're interested enough, you can come along. You can come if you want. I guess really it all depends on how it's said. Because usually the problem with you can come if you want is the person is then asking, well, do you want me to come? But I would sometimes argue, like, depending on the person, I guess, I wouldn't say you can come if you want if I didn't want you there. If I didn't want you there at all, I probably wouldn't offer you a chance to come. It is nice to be wanted, but sometimes, I do sometimes think some people take that overboard. Oh, we said you can come if you want. I'm trying to think. I say, oh, I'm getting coffee. You can come if you want. No, wait. Oh, wait. That might be, wait, hold on. I might disagree with you. Hold on. Let me think of a situation. I think it would have to be like sandwiched in between. So like, I'm going to get coffee. Do you want to come? You can come if you would like. No, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Ooh, I might disagree with you, friend. Oof, I don't know. Appetizers, this is funny. Appetizers are enough of a meal. We've been scammed by big restaurant. And I'm not going to lie. Yes. Because sometimes, you know, you get, especially if you go to a new restaurant, you like want to experience all the parts of a menu. After that appetizer comes and they have the audacity and the nerve to put down your main dish in front of you, you're like, oh, so you think I'm big. You think I'm going to eat all of this. I think just recently me and Jared, we went to a small, like, little Mexican restaurant, and I had been craving nachos for so long. So I'm like, oh, they have nachos as the appetizer. Let me just see what it's giving. When they put down that plate of nachos in front of me, oh, it was huge. And then when the food came out, I said, oh, okay. I'm happy I wore the sweatpants today because this is not a jeans or a belt with jeans type of meal. I was stuffed to the brim. I needed nothing but a good ginger ale and to lay down on the floor after that. I do think sometimes, especially because appetizers are cheaper, if it's like you and maybe like two other people, if y'all each get an appetizer and just share that, I think honestly you'll be full enough. Sometimes I do think The appetizers and the main course are a bit of a scam. This one, I agree with wholeheartedly. Who gives a fuck about screen time? Yes, I'm on my phone. What the fuck about it? Absolutely. Now, sometimes I do think it's funny when I tell people my screen time, because I'll be around people and they're like, oh, my screen time was 7 hours yesterday. That's so bad. Let me read y'all my screen time just from today. Well, right now it's past midnight, so I'll do for yesterday, but my screen time is going to be high. Like, I don't care. I just don't care. It's my phone. I pay for it, so let me be. Oh, okay, I got it. Yesterday, April 1st, my screen time was 9 hours and 33 minutes. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. My most used app is TikTok. Who gives a flying that's basically my second job at this point. But my second app is YouTube. And what I will say is that a lot of times I will have on a YouTube video in the background while I'm cooking, while I'm showering, stuff like that. So now someone could argue that you don't need to be watching YouTube videos in the shower. I would say, shut your fucking mouth. You don't know me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care about screen time. I'm sorry, I don't. I pay my phone bill on time, might I add. You can ask Verizon about that. I pay my phone bill to use my phone. I'm not going to not use my phone. And I'll take it a step further. I'm going to take it a step further. And some of y'all might hate this. The people, like, I just saw this TikTok recently, and it was this girl being like, this is gonna be my last TikTok. I'm getting off the internet because it's just not good for you. I got a library membership, and I'm just gonna be reading books from now on. If you need me, you can like write me a letter or something. Okay, but you posted this video on TikTok, bitch. Like, I don't know. Like, do I think being on your phone all the time is good? No, whatever. But also, I'm paying for my phone. I'm gonna use it because you know what? The bill ain't cheap. The bill ain't cheap. And if I didn't want to have a phone that had 5G and let me have access to all these apps all the time, I would just get a flip phone. But you know what? I want a smartphone because it's 2025 and I want my apps and I want my things. So now what about it? I agree with that wholeheartedly, actually. And I'm sick of people acting like snobs because you have a high screen time. Yeah. Are you going to fight me about it? Do you want me to, what do you want to do? You want to put a lock on my phone? Cancellation fees for anything will be the first tip of the revolution. Absolutely. Let me tell y'all this. I made an appointment with a dentist. It was a new dentist. Made an appointment. I didn't show up. I've completely forgot about it, honestly. They called me and they were like, hey, so it's a little bit after your appointment. Are you still coming? And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I honestly forgot. Am I able to reschedule? And they said, well, yeah, sure, but we're going to have to charge you a $75 cancellation fee. No, the you're not. Because guess what I'm not doing? Paying it. Guess what I'm not doing? Ever coming here. Don't... That's actually comical that you think you're going to charge me. And here's what I'm going to say this right now. Maybe I don't agree with the comment about context and nuance, because I do think sometimes you have to defend yourself. If you provide a service and someone doesn't show up, they should pay you maybe for the time that you... I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't know. Maybe if you're like an independent art, like if you're like a nail tech or something, or a hairstylist, and someone cancels on you, especially because I'm not going to lie, I did do a no call, no show. But here's the thing, I forgot. Maybe I could see that because like at that point, you do need to make some money for the time that you were supposed to be meeting with them. But that's for an independent person. I'm not paying a dentist office that's like part of a larger organization. Leave me alone. No, I'm sorry, I'm not paying it. I do think some people get out of hand with the cancellation fees. I saw a post where a girl said, it's toxic to think you only have one soulmate, and I just want people to stop talking. Yeah, I agree. Let me see. What else? Oh, this is a hot one. When I got into a relationship, I realized all of the dating advice I've been following online was from nothing but bitter women. Oh, friend, that's quite a take. That is quite a take. Bitter. I don't know if I'd maybe use the word bitter. I do think that there are some people online who are so detached from what it means to be in a regular relationship that they will project those things online. And if they've built a following on giving people dating advice, you underestimate how much you can sway an audience. And I don't think until you're in an actual relationship with someone that you like, someone who, I don't know, when you're in an actual relationship, you maybe start to realize, oh, well, this person online said that if a guy doesn't take me to an expensive steakhouse for our first date, he's not the one for me. But maybe you go on a date and you get coffee with a guy and you're like, oh my God, wait, that was such a good conversation. I really liked him. Maybe perhaps the steak dinner date isn't as important as I thought it was. I think that a lot of these dating people online, there needs to be some perspective offered. Because I don't think ultimately we're all after the exact same thing in a partner. And so I think when you're giving dating advice online and you're telling people that they should only accept these things from their partner, and if they don't give this and they don't care about you, well, that's irresponsible on your end as a creator of media, especially one that is advice-based. Bitter is quite the word, friend. Let me see if I'm missing any. So these were some that were DM'd to me, and then I'm going to go into screenshots from the story. I will cut off people for not saying happy birthday to me. It is the most minimal thing. I say happy birthday to everyone, even if they're just a stranger. Yeah, I might not cut them off, but I low-key will look at them differently. I think especially like if you're posting like everything on your story for your birthday, I think especially if someone watches your entire story and doesn't say happy birthday, that's crazy. And me personally, there's a few chances you can either swipe up on someone's story and say happy birthday, you can DM them separately and say happy birthday, or when they inevitably post their birthday pictures, you can also comment it there. But if you don't say happy birthday at all and you see all of that, I do think that's a little weird. I'll always say happy birthday to someone. You wanna know why? Because a birthday is literally a celebration of life. You made it another year, and not to get dark and damper, do you know how rare that is? Yeah, sit in that silence. But like, no, seriously, like, I don't know. I take birthdays very seriously. I love my birthday. It's a day about me. Of course I'm going to love it. I know not everyone does that, but I ultimately do think a birthday is another celebration of life. And I do think we should take that seriously. I'm always going to say happy birthday to people. And if you know someone personally and you don't say happy birthday to them, I do think that's kind of strange. Let's see. Okay, that's that. Now let's go into the screenshots. Some of these hot takes have been hot. Okay. I'd rather watch the movie than read the book. Much quicker to get to the point. I agree. I don't know if the book is better than the movie snobs are still around. I hope that they phased out because shut up. No, it's not. Here's my thing about it is that, like, sure, the movie can be as good as the book, or maybe the book can be a little bit better. The thing is that for the movie, the imagery has already been created for me. Do I have an active imagination? Yes. But did a studio put time and effort and money into creating an image so I don't have to? Yes. So I'm going to watch that. Also, there's just more of an experience with the movies. I talked about it earlier. I enjoy the movies. Let me see the movie. If I want to read the book, I read the book. But can y'all, if you're a book person, shut up. No. If you like books, shut up, nerd. It is impossible to be happy without money. I agree. I think that in 2025, if you fix your lips to tell anyone that money does not make you happy, you need to be punched in the face until all your teeth fall out and you don't have the money to get your teeth fixed or to buy new teeth. Because that is the most out of touch and insane and disgusting and abhorrent, and I can't even think of another word, but that's just a bad take all around. Money, not having money can literally make someone want to kill themselves. So what do you mean money doesn't make you happy? Only a complete, literal, buffoonish jackass would say something like that. Slender Man is the only good and actually scary creepypasta. I don't know anything about the other creepypasta stories. What I do know is that Slender Man, the idea of that scares the shit out of me. Even now that I'm looking in this dark hallway of my apartment, I just got a little scared saying his name. And now I want to sleep with the lights on. So I agree. Honestly, doesn't know much about the other creepypastas, but I do agree. Doodles remind me of grown men in dog suits constantly looking for their zippers. And now that you said that, I will never unsee it. And now I'm getting very scared. So now I've read one about Slender Man and skinwalkers in doodle suits. Now imagine Slender Man in a doodle suit. I'm turning on the lights when I go to bed. Stop. I'm actually so scared right now. I'm getting hot. Kendrick's legacy was tarnished by the beef. I disagree. Okay. If I had to even entertain this thought, the only thing that I will say is that now, because Kendrick and Drake have had this beef, I do see a lot more Drake fans like constantly trying to like tear apart different parts of Kendrick's discography and point out things in him and all this stuff. And I do think maybe had he never gotten into the beef, this wouldn't have happened. But I also think just in general, they're grasping at straws. I don't think it tarnishes beef at all. I think it's actually done him a lot of good because I think he's gained a lot of new listeners. I think that his female fan base has gone up a lot, which, quiet as it's kept, women quite simply drive the economy and all types of social media and trends and everything like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's done him any bad. Clapping when the plane lands is fun and people hate on it unnecessarily. Also, nowadays, landing safely is low-key a reason to celebrate, so let us have fun. I agree. So I don't fly as often, but one of my favorite things that I used to do, especially when I'd be at the movie theater with my mom, I would clap after movies. And she would think it was so stupid. She's like, Shamira, stop. It is, a show is finished. Like, a presentation of something is done. I am going to clap. It just feels natural. But I don't know. I agree with this point. Landing safely is a blessing, so you should be able to clap. But like, it is kind of like whimsical. It's like a bit you commit to. Like, you know, when you're at the grocery store and like you're at the self-scanning or like the self-help machine and it's like yelling at you, put the item in the bagging area, and you might talk back to it like, calm down, lady. Like, that's a bit. It's just something you do for the bit. It's just fun. If you eat pineapple glazed ham but hate Hawaiian pizza, you don't have a leg to stand on. Sorry. And I agree, and I didn't know this was a community that existed, but yeah, it's basically all the same thing. And now I'm hungry, and these grapes are working, but they are neither a pineapple glazed ham or a Hawaiian pizza. Chapel Rome really shot herself in the foot with her lack of media training. Love her music, though. Oh, this couldn't come at a better time. Chapel, shut the f*** up. I'm just so sick of it. I think at first, and I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast, I think at first when Chapel Rome was getting like a lot of pushback, a lot of hate for not speaking up in support of Kamala Harris, I did kind of have a moment of being like, because at least some of it kind of felt like y'all want her to speak up so that y'all know who to align your vote with. And that's not okay. I think you should. It's nice if a celebrity that you appreciate their work, you find out also has like, similar political views to you, because politics, whether people want to accept it or not, does affect every facet of our lives. And politics is not something you can remove your emotions from, because political decisions can affect your well-being, which affects your emotions. But when I assumed that people wanted Chapel to talk about that so that people could just, kind of virtue signal that they're standing the right person because this person, is supporting Kamala, or even worst case, people wanting her to speak up because they wanted to know which way they should vote. That's not okay. But now Chapel has taken it upon herself to go on the Call Her Daddy podcast and complain about how hard it is to be a pop star. And you can't possibly expect me to write songs and perform and remember to eat and rehearse and be politically informed. Oh no, how could you? Girl, shut the hell up. There are other celebrities who are doing it and they don't complain about it at all. There are also people who have, their hardest days aren't waking up and writing music and performing and remembering to eat. There are regular people who work maybe 2 or 3 fucking jobs and they have time to be politically informed. How dare you sit up there and you act like staying politically informed is such a bad thing to do or such a hard thing to do, especially when you've not been shy to voice your opinions. Chapel Roan, you won a Grammy and you got on stage and you talked about how labels don't provide health insurance to their stars. You're not shy to advocacy. So why are you now acting like it's so hard for you to get up there and share your political opinion? Unless, and I don't want to say that part out loud, but unless, Yeah, she has literally no media training. And sometimes there's a charm to celebrities who don't have media training, i.e. Renee Rapp. But other times it's just like, damn, like, shut up. And also, you claim you don't like attention. What are you going on the Call Her Daddy podcast for then? If you want to be this not obscure, but if you want to be this artist who just makes the art and isn't really perceived by the public because you don't feel like the public has proper boundaries, then do that then. Tired of my family asking me when I'm going to get married. Hello, I'm only 24. Agree. I've been saying this recently just because me and Jared have now been dating for just under 2.5 years. And we are already getting those questions of like, when you guys getting married? And it's like, when we want to. Like, I just think, first of all, it's so rude to constantly ask a couple when they're doing the next thing in their relationship. But something else I've noticed is that, like, at each stage of your relationship, it's almost like you're not allowed to enjoy it because people are already pushing you towards the next thing. When you start, you know, talking to someone, it's, when you gonna make it official? When you guys gonna get engaged? When you guys gonna get married? When you gonna have kids? When you're gonna buy a house? When you're gonna send your kids off to school? When your kids gonna have kids? When you're gonna become, like, it's too much. Stop asking people. I know sometimes it seems like a harmless, like, conversational point, and maybe, like, you're trying to just learn more about how this person is liking being in a committed relationship. But on the other hand, it is the most invasive and annoying conversation to have. Especially if your whole point in having that conversation is to push an agenda. Shut the hell up. People who like heavy metal music are literally lying to seem edgy. I don't know if I think my only experience to some level of, I don't even know if this counts as heavy metal music, but like, for those who have grown up with it, if y'all have ever played any of the SmackDown versus Raw WWE video games, you know those soundtracks range with a lot of different music on them. Does 3 Days Grace count as heavy metal music? I don't think so. That has to be like just rock music, right? Yeah, I don't know. I think only ever in my life I've known maybe 2 people who have listened to heavy metal music. And actually, now that I think about it, you might be onto something. It did kind of seem like you wanted attention. T, you ain't. Smoking is cool. I'm sorry. It just is cool and very sexy. Okay, it is what it is. And then they responded, I should clarify and say smoking makes you look sexy and cool. Lung cancer is decidedly uncool. Your Honor, the defendant might be right. Look, you won't see me with a cigarette in my mouth, but what I can say is that I saw an edit of one of my aforementioned celebrity crushes from the beginning of the podcast. I saw them with a cigarette. I would be remiss if I didn't mention how it had me in the bed. I literally was in bed, blanket up to my chin. I'm sitting there with my phone in my hand, like, kicking my feet and giggling and squealing. Your Honor, she has a point. Audience, don't boo her. She's right. This one says, men shouldn't be blonde. That's not for them. There's been an uptick in blonde men slander, and I won't stand for it. Get behind me, Blondie. What's wrong with a blonde man? A blonde man with dark eyebrows? Uchiwawa, gimme, gimme. Like, whatever. Whatever, guys. Whatever. I'm tired of celebrities all having the same face nowadays. Absolutely. The plastic surgery face is literally just a copy and paste look. And you know what? I'm not shaming people who get plastic surgery. People do what they do. We can't keep blaming women for getting plastic surgery, but then also having terrible things to say about women's bodies when they don't have plastic surgery. We can't have it both ways. Leave women alone. That being said, can we stop showing our surgeons the same pictures of the same people all over again? You don't need to reconstruct your face, honey. You want to get a little nose, you want to do a nose job? Fine. You want to get some cheek filler? Fine. But it is getting to be where they all do look the same. It's the plastic surgery face, and it's really unfortunate. Like I said, I'm not talking down on anyone who has had work done or wants work done, but it's just like, it's copy and paste. You know that one Danielle Bergoli video clip? She looks like every other bitch. Like, yeah. Listening to true crime podcasts is crazy. And you know what? I might have to agree. Here's my thing. The only true crime content that I will consume. So there's a YouTube channel, JCS. They do criminal psychology videos, and it talks about the psychology of like whether it's the interrogation part of solving a crime, or it's like the trial part. They talk about like the different tactics used by the detectives, the defense teams, the prosecution, all that stuff, and also gives like a context, like a historical context or a timeline, a chronological context of what's going on. And I watch that, and then I will watch the occasional Netflix documentary about a certain true crime. But my thing with true crime podcasts is that if it's not giving like an educational element other than just telling people about the case, one of my least favorite things that happens with true crime content is that I don't like when it's told like gossip. I hate when it's told like gossip because it feels very disrespectful to the victims of that. Yeah, and I just think sometimes, especially with people who do true crime podcasts, there always just seems to be a lack of tact. Yeah, and sometimes I just don't feel like, a case about a serial killer in Michigan should be told by two girls who were sitting crisscross applesauce on a couch cackling about it. Sometimes I just don't think it's worth the laughing material. Sitcoms with laugh tracks are not less funny and are the same as adding a haha or an LOL to a text. I love a laugh track, honestly. Especially, I miss live audiences. Live audiences were it. Watching like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with a live audience, oh my God. I want that experience back. Like, how hard is it to get live audiences for sitcoms now? Like, imagine like Abbott Elementary with the live audience. Actually, it might take out of it a little bit because Abbott does have like some dry humor in it, but I don't know. I agree though. As long as it's actually like an earned laugh, there's nothing worse than watching a sitcom with a laugh track and they put a laugh track in something that's like barely funny, something that you barely even laughed at. Then it's like, okay, now we're trying to force it. I hate small talk. I'm not obligated to speak past a greeting. Yeah. Sometimes we don't need to make small talk. I think specifically this comes to mind when I think about Ubers. I understand you're in your car driving around. There's random people getting in the back seat. Sometimes you want to talk to them. Sometimes I just say time and place. I've taken Ubers home from work before, and that is like an hour-long ride. And I've been lucky so far, but I know there's going to be one time where I'm going to take an Uber home from work, and that driver's going to want to talk the entire time. And mind you, I'm taking an Uber home after I've probably worked a night event. So I'm leaving work at like 10:30. Do you think I have it in me to even say anything past the, hey, how are you? Good, happy you're having a good night. And then I put on, even if I'm not even listening to music, I can promise you I've done enough talking for the day. There's nothing else I have to say to anyone. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes small talk is just like painful too. If it's just like, neither one of us really want to be doing this right now. We both want this conversation to end, so why are we engaging in this? Not all, but I definitely support most women's wrongs against men. Yes. I'm happy someone said it. Here's the thing. Women are owed a lifelong get back to men. And if you're a man, don't sit up there and say, what have I done? You know what you've done. You know what you've done. You know what the you've done. And it's time you start paying up, bitch. And if you're not going to apologize, we're going to get our lick back. Oh, well, too bad, so sad. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Sparkling water is disgusting. Water does not need to be carbonated. Absolutely. And I remember the first time that I had sparkling water, I felt like the person that gave it to me, you must have been unwell to enjoy that. I want someone to tell me why you want and people are like, oh, I drink it because, like, I don't want to drink soda. Well, this is not any better. Like, maybe health-wise it's better for you, but, like, it has to. If you crave bubbles that bad, girl, just have the soda. Just drink more water in your life then. But it is not worth it. It's not a comparable sacrifice. LaCroix, just all of them taste so bad. And y'all sit up here and try to convince me that it doesn't. It is disgusting. Boy moms are weird. They create incels, psychos, and men who refuse to take accountability. Ain't that the truth? And I quiet as it's kept, boy moms, one of the worst men you can date is someone who is a product of that boy mom relationship. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Capital Y, capital U, capital C, capital K. Yuck. Yeah, no, I mean, that relationship of a boy mom can get so, it's not even toxic. It's just, I mean, it can get downright like Oedipus. Like it can just get, it can just get really, and it seems like a lot of the times, the woman, the mom is using her son to fill a void within her that has been left either by possibly being a single parent or not feeling desired by any man. And it also comes from like this weird responsibility that is placed on that boy to, to be the man of the house, and they grow up to be the man of the house, and they protect their mom from things. And there's just like, there's many layers to it. And it's one where it's like, there clearly is some type of cyclical thing going on there. It's a cycle that feeds into itself, and it can only be undone with therapy. But yeah, boy moms can create some of the worst men you'll ever meet. LOL, we should get preemptive rabies shots so we can hang out with raccoons and bats. And I'm going to hold your hand when I say this. I will not be. Raccoons creep me out so bad. Why do their hands look like that? Why do their hands look like that? No, that's too much. I think I've only ever seen a raccoon once in my life, and that was probably enough. And I know for a fact I saw it when I was young, because it was at my uncle's house when he used to live in Tennessee. And we went to visit him when one of my cousins was just born. And I'm telling you all this as if y'all know any of the age frame for that. But like, I was super young. Super young. I wouldn't know the age. My uncle would definitely know the age though. If you're listening, Uncle Dwayne, I don't know how old we were when we came down and visited you right when Mackenzie was born. But that was the first time I saw a raccoon. It was in your backyard, and I've had that image in my head for a very long time. Oh, I'm like getting the creepies about it right now. I remember also there's like this viral TikTok, and it's like this girl's like recording her porch, and you can see like the little raccoon hands like reaching up from under the porch. Oh my God. Ew, 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 ew. I'm getting like creepies thinking about it right now. It's so disgusting. I don't think I've ever seen a bat in real life, and I don't need to be hanging out with them. So you go ahead and get that rabies shot, and you let me know how it goes, friend. And the last one, this person said, this isn't my hot take, but the subway take when the lady said bring back segregation, 100% agree. So for context, if y'all don't know what this response is referring to, there's a TikTok page and probably an Instagram page where this guy is on the New York Metro, I think for the most part, and he just goes up to people and asks them what's their hot take. And this woman just said, bring back segregation. Is a black woman, and she's saying bring back segregation. And you know what? I can't, she's not wrong. I think given what's going on, I think not even just right now, but historically, maybe for a while now, not even maybe, but like what's been going on for a while, I think in the least radical way, it would be nice to have spaces where it's just black people and we can just be ourselves with true kinfolk and not just skinfolk, because we know how that goes. But yeah, it's getting to a point now where it's just like, I mean, I can't even really explain it, because it's just like, if you know, you know. It's hard. It's hard right now. And it would just be nice to be in community sometimes. I think that's the most tame way I can put it. It would just be nice to be in community with my people sometimes, in what feels like a safe haven. Yeah, no, that take is crazy. That's actually really good. If you want to hear more hot takes, not that this page needs any promo from me, but I actually don't know the name of it, but I'm sure if you just look up like Subway hot takes on TikTok and probably on Instagram, you'll be able to find that page. And there's a lot of good hot takes on there as well. But that was all the hot takes I got. That was so much fun. Thank you all so much for participating in that. If you have any hot takes you want to leave in the comments of this podcast, whether that be in the YouTube section on YouTube, in the comment section, whether that be in the comment section on YouTube or as a comment in response to this episode on Spotify.com, feel free to do so. But you guys, I think that's it. Yeah, we're wrapping up. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I had such a blast. I had such a ball. and I had such a fun time with my pals. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to leave a positive review and interact with it in any way that you see fit on whatever platform you're consuming this media on. I really appreciate it, and I love you so very much for it. I don't know when I'll see you all again. Who knows? But I'll try my best to come back more frequently, but only time will tell. But keep up with me on all social medias and stay tuned for more. I love you all very much. Please take care of yourselves out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. It's getting hot, so make sure you stay hydrated and wear your sunscreen, bitch, and I'm not playing with you. Anyway, I love you all very much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.